Play.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing? I hope you like that new little introduction to the show. It's going to become a regular feature, I hope. Anyway, talking of regular features, we are back again for what we're going to be calling the 10 minutes. The 10 minutes is going to be very quick, sharp, hopefully full of information, reviews of days plays at the Masters 1000 events. You can count them in Monte Carlo, in Rome, in Indian Wells, in Miami, and currently we're in Paris, Bercy, and I'm sure I've missed off a couple of others as well. 20 minutes slams, 10 minutes for Masters. Get your comments in the live chat and let me know what you thought of today's play, but also yesterday's play. I'm just going to touch on a couple of results from yesterday before we get into today. I can see Stan Wawrinka is currently in action, so the action's still going on right now. He's 5-all, although he's just put a drive volley into the net against Holger Rune. So he's a set up, but he did have a couple of match points, not managed to quite close that out. Should anything happen over the next 10 minutes, I will be giving you live mentions of that if Wawrinka does manage to squeeze this out in straight sets. That'll be a very impressive win for the Swiss. And don't forget to check out my interview with Simon Graf on Monday. We had a good chat about Stan Wawrinka, the 3-time slam winner. Anyway, regarding today, hi Ashley, nice to have you on board for this 10 minutes. Regarding today's play, let's have a quick chat about that. Well, let's talk about yesterday, actually, very briefly. First of all, we had Andy Murray. Okay, Andy Murray was obviously in action yesterday against Gilles Simon, and that did not go to plan, let's say. He was serving for the match at one point and couldn't manage to close it out, unfortunately. And unfortunately, not only did he not close it out, he actually went on to lose to Gilles Simon. An incredible match there. Let me know what you think about that in the live chat. If you're an Andy Murray fan, I'm sure you're very disappointed with how that panned out. Is this the sign of things to come? We've seen a bit of a dip in recent weeks, perhaps from Andy Murray, who showed some glimpses of positivity in New York at the US Open, but perhaps you might well argue that he's taken a couple of steps back in recent weeks. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that scenario. Perhaps I'm being a bit too dramatic, and perhaps he's going to have a much better coming weeks. Make sure you hit that like button, by the way. And also, we had the competition winner announced today. Make sure you check out the competition video for the hat that I've got right in front of me. Actually, it's right here. The competition winner has been announced. It's been announced on Twitter and on the video that I released today. It's done in a short form. So make sure to check that out. You may well have won this amazing hat, and it may well be coming in your direction very soon. So make sure you check that out. Let's bring up some of the results, though, from today. Let's share the screen, but make sure we share the right one. Stop that. So let's get that out of the way. Yeah, let's get some of the results up from today. Let's have a quick look at those. Actually, we've got yesterday's results here actually in front of us. We've got Bublik there, obviously, losing to Yamur. And Kusler, by the way, very impressive win against Sinner. But again, Sinner's movement, questionable. Is he going to be shutting down his season? Obviously, he's due to play at the Davis Cup in about 2 or 3 weeks from now. But there's question marks there. Schwartzman, what a bad year for him, I would suggest. Nothing like the heights that he hit in 2020. Maxime Cressy defeating him, but of course Maxime Cressy was involved in action today against Novak Djokovic. I'll be coming to that very shortly. Very impressive win for TFO in straight sets, and as I said, Andy Murray's defeat, that's crushing. He was 6-4 up, having won the first set, 6-4. He was then serving for the match, I believe, at 5-4, lost that set 7-5, and then went on to lose the final set 6-3. But that's the last I will be mentioning of that painful defeat, so Andy Murray's fans can relax. Sebi Korda, disappointing defeat. I would say Sebi Korda has been showing some real signs of life in recent weeks, but that's a different disappointing result for him against the Australian Alex de Minaur, but hats off to him. I also managed to catch quite a bit of the Musetti-Cilic match. Cilic going a breakdown pretty early in both of those sets and never looking back. Gasquet, by the way, looking really cool, rolling back the years against Molcan. Gasquet was also in action today, and I'll be coming to that very, very shortly. Taylor Fritz still has an outside chance, of course, of making the ATP finals. Really slim chance. I think he's pretty much going to have to win this tournament and hope that Felix doesn't make too much progress for that to happen. But he had a nice win against Davidovich Fokina as well. Let's get to today's play, though, because this is the 10 minutes. So here we go. Dan Evans, very good, impressive 3 sets win over Brandon Nakashima. Nakashima, though, has since Wimbledon perhaps had a bit of a downturn, perhaps in his form. Obviously, get to the quarterfinals at Wimbledon, but that's 2 tournaments in a row now. He's gone out in 3 sets fairly early on, having gone out to Stan Wawrinka in Basel last week. Really good win for Mutet, but equally disappointing for Borna Coric. Borna Coric obviously having come back from injury earlier on this year and obviously winning his first Masters 1000 event, but he's not been able to win a second one here in Paris. A lot of people gloating and really impressed with Jack Draper on Twitter. I even saw that he will be the next, somebody predicting he'll be the next Brit to win a major. Do you think that will be the case? Do you agree that the next British player, or on the men's side at least, to win a major will be Jack Draper? It's a little bit too early to say it for me, but you never know. Carreño Busta winning as well in straight sets today, as did Hubi Hurkacz. That was a really tight match against Manarino. As you can see that in the tiebreak, it just went to 5. Fognini, well, what a story this is with Fognini beating Artur Fius. He lost to Fius in qualifying. So what you're saying is, how on earth did he play Fius again today? Well, Fognini managed to squeeze through as a lucky loser and end up replaying against Fius in the second round as he did today. And he won, or in the first round today as he did, and he won. Or in the second round. No, it is the second round today. Sorry, excuse me. Tommy Paul there, a nice straight sets win against Bautista Agut. And Tommy Paul will be playing Rafael Nadal tomorrow evening here at Paris Bercy. I say here at Paris Bercy. I'm currently in Germany, but I'm off to Paris tomorrow. I will be watching the Rafael Nadal Tommy Paul match. It's first up on centre court, and we will probably be bringing you live coverage of that match on the channel, 7:30 p.m. Central European Time, 6:30 p.m. GMT. No idea, but a bit earlier in the day, probably about lunchtime, depending on which part of the US you are in and other time zones elsewhere. Keep an eye out for that on the channel. I think I'll be having Nick and probably Isabel bringing you that match tomorrow evening. And we'll also be bringing you on Jabeur tomorrow night as well against Jessica Pegula a little bit later on in the evening. I think we'll have Jack presenting that. So that's exciting. And it's exciting for me because I will get to see Tommy Paul play Rafael Nadal. Let me know in the live chat how you think that match is going to go. I will be coming to the live chat once I've got through all of these matches to see what your comments are. I've got an idea. I've got a little eye on Stan Wawrinka here. Holger Rune has a match point, by the way, so that could well be going to a third set. And you'd obviously heavily favor the Dane. In fact, he has just sealed that. Wawrinka, having had a couple of match points, not managing to seal it. Holger Rune does seal that set, and therefore that will be going into a third set. Anyway, yes, tomorrow evening. So I'll be also posting a few videos, I'm sure, a few little tiny clips from Paris Bercy, but make sure, more importantly, you don't miss a single ball of coverage by tuning into the tennis channel or Talking Tennis, sorry, tomorrow evening. Make sure you hit that like button below the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit that notification button. Grigor Dimitrov, good win for him, albeit super tight match. 2 tie breaks. He needed to beat Boris van der Zandschulp today as well. Denis Shapovalov, an excellent win for him. He was on the rope somewhat in that second set. I felt against Francisco Cerundolo, but he managed to turn it around. And having just got to the final in Vienna, that's a really good win for him against Cerundolo, who was also having he's making his way up through the rankings, let's say. Andrey Rublev, I saw people going nuts about him on Twitter this morning. It was pretty much the first match up against John Isner today, and Andrey Rublev was streets ahead, let's say. We've also got Khachanov against Husler in action right now. I say Husler, the Swiss who's really been tearing up of late. It looks like Khachanov won the first set, Husler won the second, and is deep into the third. So that's super, 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 super tight. If I see any major developments in either of these matches, I will be bringing them to you. But we're almost at the end of the 10 minutes. In fact, I'm almost certain we're going to go beyond it because I've still yet to talk about a couple of other matches that occurred today. Casper Ruud beating Richard Gasquet. I saw that. I mean, at one point, I think it was 5-love, and I was really concerned about the home favourite Gasquet, who we all know and love, especially for that wonderful, unbelievable backhand. How he gets the arc on that, I have no idea, especially as someone who has a two-handed backhand myself. But Casper Ruud won that first set 6-1 in the end. It wasn't a bagel, fortunately. The second set, Gasquet had set points, I believe, on the Ruud serve at one point, and it was a super, super tight tie-break. Gasquet had eked out a small advantage at the beginning, but ultimately the Norwegian US Open finalist and French Open finalist of this year managed to prevail. But I'm telling you now, I don't see Casper Ruud going much further in this tournament, given the way he played today and given the way he's performed since New York. Final match to talk about. Novak Djokovic against Maxime Cressy. A straight sets win for Novak Djokovic. I think many of us had our eyes on this match to see how it would pan out. And the Serb won, reasonably comfortably, you could say. He was certainly threatening the Cressy serve at various points in the first set. Djokovic was comfortable on his serve pretty much throughout the match, I would argue. Once it went to the tiebreak, you were thinking, well, Djokovic has been the better player throughout this set, but can he maintain it in the tiebreak? He absolutely did, dropping just 1 point. We know how phenomenal the Serb can be in tiebreaks, and the 21-time Grand Slam winner prevailed both in the tiebreak and the match as a whole. It was nip and tuck again in the second set. I think both players actually, I think Djokovic maybe had a slight dip on his serve in the second set, but at 4-all, there was a double fault from Maxime Cressy, who, by the way, was probably being a bit more aggressive than he normally would on the second serve. And as a result, there were quite a few double faults today from the French-American. I think at one stage, I think it was 9-1 in terms of double faults for Cressy, 1 for Djokovic. And but of course, that's often down to the person on the other side of the net. He just couldn't afford to be hitting tame second serves, and therefore so many double faults from the French-Americans. I highlighted the serve volleyer that perhaps many of you love as well. But Djokovic at that game at 4-all was phenomenal. There was one double fault, but the other 3 points, let me tell you, included an unbelievable return of serve and 2 other unbelievable points from Djokovic. So he prevails and goes on into the next round. Let me come back to you, lovely people in the live chat, before I let you go from this 10-minute episode reviewing today's play and a little bit of yesterday. Hi, Karis there. What have we got in there? Love Andy, but that match with Simon was painful to watch. Yes, indeed. Not my choice, of course, but I'm wondering if he's going to consider hanging up his racket soon. I think we're going to have at least 12 more months from the Scot. And hopefully a big 12 months. Who knows? Maybe a nice run at Wimbledon, and who knows? Maybe even another title to add to his Antwerp title, if you like, that he earned a couple of years ago post injury. Nakashima won San Diego. Thank you, Ghosty. Yeah, I know that Nakashima's done quite well. It's just the last 2 tournaments that I think he'll be a bit disappointed to go out so early in. Very, very exciting. Nice one, Ghosty there. Ghosty there, I presume that's a prediction for tomorrow against Rafa. I think it could well go 3 sets, and who knows which way it will pan out. But I'm not so sure that'll go the way of the American. Everybody, thank you for stopping by. Do you think Evans can beat Tsitsipas? Yes, he can, but that's mainly because Tsitsipas's form has gone down so much. Listen, guys, it's been over 10 minutes. It's been wonderful. I hope you like the new intro to the video. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll be bringing you another 10-minute review from Paris for Bercy, perhaps even from Paris itself tomorrow evening. Tennis World, thanks for stopping by.